Jon, let's talk a little bit about this issue of succession, because it's obviously top of mind for a lot of people. You've got generational change, as you know, and you built a substantial business, and as then you were thinking about stepping up into a broader corporate role. Talk a little bit about the skill set you were looking for to run real estate, obviously a much bigger business than what you inherited. You picked Ken and Kathleen. Did they have different skill sets, similar skill sets? And talk a little bit about the issue of having, kind of co-managing partners running the business.
So I would start on the succession side with what a great job Steve Schwarzman and Tony James did, which was to say to me, I don't know, 5-7 years, whenever before I even got the job, like, look, over time you're going to get this. And at some point, probably 3 years before I even got anointed, 6+ years ago now, Tony brought me into a bunch of the compensation related matters and other things sort of in the back room of the firm, really to understand key conflicts, other issues. I had been put on the management committee and board, a decade plus. And so they said, you're going to get this, but we want you to be trained. And they sort of let it out in a way so you didn't have one of these odd Game of Thrones where no one knows till the end and then they pull it out of the envelope and then the other person is embarrassed. What they did by sort of anointing me early was created a way for me to learn and no one else to feel that somehow they had been wronged or something. So if you wanted a casebook study in succession, they deserve the credit for that. On my side, they did the same thing. Starting well before my thing, they said, look, Jon, if you want to and we want you to move up, you've got to start building your organization. And you've got to make sure that this organization can continue to flourish after you leave. So that led to me to elevate different people into different roles. Ultimately, Ken became the chief investment officer. Kathleen was the chief operating officer. And they had extraordinarily complementary skills because Ken had lived in the US and in Europe, had run our European business, had spent a bunch of time in Asia, a very experienced real estate investor, arguably as experienced as anybody in the world. Kathleen had come up, she had started as an investor when she came from Goldman, then worked on our investor relations side, knew all our clients, then oversaw all the things around people and technology and new businesses we were going into. And so they were de facto sort of running these things. And then they had amazing partners in Nadeem Medji running the US and James Sapala in Europe, Chris Heddy in Asia, Jonathan Pollock in our debt business. I could go on and on. So we had this great structure so that when I got elevated, the system just kept running. And they're definitely doing things better than I did, which is what should happen in a business. And they had worked as partners all along. And this worked seamlessly because they had, one of the problems with co-heads is they're trying to kill each other off. They're both fighting over the same thing. But if you have a clear division of what each one does, in this case, it can work really well. It also takes a certain type of person. And these are both good, self-effacing, hardworking, nice people. They both happen to be from New Jersey, suburban New Jersey, and they get along really well and they're friends. And that's made for a great partnership. And nothing could make me prouder than the fact that they've continued to grow the business in an enormous way, and the talent underneath them has continued to grow. So back to this idea of a long-term enduring institution as opposed to a business built around one individual, that's what the goal. They're really making that a reality. And you build something that's like a well-oiled machine, which historically, as you guys know, in real estate or frankly any investment business, that hasn't been the mode. And that's really what we're trying to do, not just in real estate, but in each of our business units at Blackstone. And that, I think, is pretty different than most firms in this world over time.